On this episode of All the Mods 10, we build an industrial turbine, make some power, and we also set up production for DT fuel. Hello there, welcome back to another episode. Let's go take a look down, and we're going to be continuing, well, I'm sure you've seen from the episode overview, but we are going to be continuing with our mechanism, and I have a little area set up over here where we will be building our turbine, industrial turbine. So if you take a look at the turbine thing, like any of these turbine blocks, and you press U on it, you can look at the building thing in JEI, and mine will be 11 by 11 by 17, and that is simply the same dimensions as our fission reactor. So it'll go right next to it, and I think that'll look like it belongs and everything will be good. So if you take a look at that guy, this will show you exactly what materials you need to build it. Ours is going to be a little bit different from this because if you select structural glass, it puts the structural glass at the top and the bottom as well. But I want the top and the bottom to be the turbine casings. So this gives us a pretty close approximation, but these are all the things we'll need. So let's go ahead and take a look at how we build it. It's actually going to be very simple. I've already made the blocks, so we didn't have to go through that. I'm going to put the one valve directly on the valve where we're exporting the steam from our fission reactor. So it's going to go directly into our turbine, and we won't have any bottleneck issues from like any kind of piping or whatever method. So we're just gonna put this on build to me and do this. Fill in the bottom, the top, same thing. We'll go like that. Oops. If you mess up, you just press U and it goes back. And we'll come down. So all the edges have to be these turbine casings. And then in the walls, basically, you can put reactor glass. But for us, the top, we're also going to be doing that. But you can have glass there if you wanted, but I want mine filled in. And then two layers, we need two layers of these turbine vents on the walls, just like this. And then the center, we get 13 of these turbine rotors. And this is based on how tall your reactor is and also how wide it is, because at a certain point, the size of the blades, like as you go up, they expand. And if you are too narrow and too tall, it's not going to work. So just follow when you press U, follow this guy. So when you put in the sizes, the size for your reactor, like for us, it says we need 13 of those. So, and then each rotor takes 2 blades. So if you have 13, it's 26 blades, and you just hold right click and those guys will get filled up. And I actually think that looks pretty. And then on top of the rotor, you get one of these rotational complex things. And around the rotational complex, we need turbine vents. And then above that, we put these coils. And for us, it only calls for 4, but I'm going to put 5 just so it's symmetrical, because I'm weird like that. And then this top is going to be saturated condensers. So let's go ahead and put it on surface. Wire out surface. And let's go down to I'm trying to be careful if I don't want to accidentally put it in the other one. We can put it on fuzzy. Nope, that's what I didn't want it to do. Connected area, sorry. Only connected areas. So that does that, and then we put hot vents. What goes around the thing? These guys, dispensers. Okay, so we do the dispensers all the way around there and here. And that looks good. So now we just have to fill in these guys with glass. Build to me. Let's go up here. And don't forget there's one more layer up here when you do that. So. Boop. Oh, come on. We're missing some over here. Let me in. Let me out. Are you kidding me? Come on. Oh, I suck at this game. You know what? Oh, man. It's still not forming. Could it be the other valve? Let's put the other one. We're going to want to put it down in line here. No, it's not that either. Guys, I swear I know what I'm doing. Ah, right over here. No, I saw it in the corner there. Look. How sneaky is that? Let's do this thing again where we try to go through the hole and not fit. Don't forget little pieces of glass like me. Ta-da! We did it. First time. This is pretty much set up. That's all it is. So now if we turn this guy on, it's going to start spinning and producing power. So you can see the power is building up. We're producing 10.65 million FE per tick, which is pretty decent. It's not as good as our mycelial reactor, which is much easier to automate and takes up 1/10 of the size that this is, and we don't have to worry about like nuclear waste and all that shenaz. But let's go ahead and put a flux accessor down here. I'm going to use one of these panel ones and just put it directly on the port down here, and then we'll grab some cables. And so this guy is gonna go over here, and we'll have another import bus here once we have our radioactive cell, and then we'll just go directly to here. Okay, so you can see the power drained because it's going to our system, and we have our turbine set up. Okay, so that takes care of that. And by the way, we have, my reactor was off because we have 13,000 plutonium, and even polonium we have 6,300, which is way more than we'll need. That's why I had it turned off, but this is still working like a charm. I love how that's covered, if you missed that in the previous episode. But let's go down here, and I want to show you what I've been building in between episodes. I have a little sewage area down here, I guess you can call it. And basically, this will be where we set up DT fuel production for our fusion reactor. And if you take a look at DT fuel, the deuterium comes from heavy water, which comes from the pipes from mechanism. The pumps, I'm sorry. And this is where I'm going to set up those pumps, is because I wanted like a, I don't know, cool little area. So let's go ahead and make some of those pumps. These guys, I will need more, so let's make the recipes. And we'll need the filter as well. What is this, tin dust? I don't think we have tin dust automated. But let's make, I don't know, let's try 8 for now. Like I said, the numbers for this have changed in between all the mods 9 and all the mods 10. Like 1.21 mechanism had an update, and some of the numbers are a little bit different. So I'm not 100% sure exactly what we need. But I'm just going to set it up and then we can adjust the numbers later. I didn't feel like doing the math. We'll set these guys up. Buddy, why did you do that? I think, what is it called? Is it pliers? I think 6 might be enough, actually. We'll leave it like that. By the way, if you're wondering how the door is opening without pressure plates or anything, there is a Just Dire Things sensor below it, giving it redstone power every time I go inside this area. Okay, and then we're going to use Super Factory Manager, and we'll use our fancy cables on these guys. Doot, 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 doot. And then we can just put that into the wall here. And that wall we'll replace with normal inventory cables. Doop, doop. And we can go ahead and facade. So it looks just like that. Should we make these pipes look like that too? I don't love that. How about blocks of copper? Like a copper pipe. Don't love it, but we'll leave it for now. All right, and then those guys will need all the upgrades. So let's go to make some of those, and they will need filters. And on this side, we can bring in our cable from there. So let's see how we want to set this up. So the heavy water goes into an electrolytic separator. So why don't we make one of those? And we can, I know I usually don't have pipes showing, but maybe this time we can put a pipe showing here. Like that, and we can facade the wall. It's deep slate. And that guy should be copper still. Okay, so that will go from there to here. We will need a wireless connector set down here and an oversized interface so we can deal with all the things. This is pretty much standard practice for all our builds now. And let's see, where do we want to put that? How about in the middle of the room? There goes the wireless connector. let's go hook that up to our first pink one. Hey, look at that. And Emily's on her. I was hanging out in the Discord for all the mods 10, if you guys are wondering the story behind that. And there's a person named Emily who built her entire base out of cherry logs, and everything was pink. And I said I had never built anything out of cherry before, so in her honor, I planted a tree. Because that's funny. Alright, so this guy is connected. Let's take some greater energy cards. Pull that. And then we will put our interface here. And let's put an induction card in there so we can grab power. Set that to 4 million. Seems to be the max. And then how do I want to lay this out? I kind of want the Super Factory Manager controller to be, to be above ground, like that. But do I want it right there? I made the mistake of building this room with even, I think this side is even numbers because of the double-sided door. Or maybe it's just the doors. It's just the doors. This is the center of the room. On this side, this is where we'll have our manager, and then we'll need to connect cables to it. And then this needs to go to this side of the room. And also to this side. We're gonna fix this up in just a bit, but I'm just laying out the foundation for now. Okay, and then we need to go connect to that guy, and we can just go under and into the wall. So those guys are all connected. We can close that. And I'm just going to get rid of this for now. I changed my mind. This guy looks a little out of place because of connecting textures, but oh well. Let me turn on my night vision so you guys can see better. Sorry about that. I tend to forget sometimes. So this guy is going to make our Deuterium. So let's grab a thing, disk, and start this. First, we need to deal with power. So every tick do, we're going to input FV from interface, and we will output that to the pumps. Let's say, what side of the pump is it? There's only one side for the pumps. It's these guys with the green, and that is east. So to pump east side, and then we will output FE to the electro separator top side. So let's grab our label gun and take care of that. Hold down Control to label everything at once. Here's our interface. Here's the electrolytic separator. We push the labels in. Now you can see that one block doesn't have it set up because I cleared the labels. But if we click on the exclamation point, Super Factory Manager is going to set the input side of the top to be accepted. And now this has power, which is amazing. So then these guys, now that they're getting power, should be pumping up water. This one is not, because maybe there's flowing water under it. Why is that one not working? These guys are all full of heavy water. except for this last one. It's possibly, yeah, because there's flowing water under it. Okay, so this guy's getting it also. And now we need to move that water to the electrolytic separator. So let's do that. 20 ticks do input fluid. Come on. From pump top side again. Output fluid to electrode separator. Also top side. And we set the side input. So now this guy is making deuterium and oxygen. We'll be dumping the excess oxygen. So let's grab our things and muffling upgrade as well. All right, so that guy is full of deuterium. What's next? Let's see. That's the easy part for the DT fuel. Then we need a tritium, and the tritium comes from lithium, which comes from liquid lithium, which comes from the thermal evaporation chambers. So let's set those guys up. I'm going to set one up on one side and the other on the other side. So I don't think I have things for those thermal. No. So let me set up some crafting recipes for those. And also a resistive heater. That's what we will be using. And we set this guy. Okay, so let's build 10 valves. A few hundred of those guys. I'm missing bronze. All right, the way these guys work, you can only do a 4x4 of them. So I'm going to build one on this side. It's going to be, oh shoot, I can't center the 4x4. Oh well. That's going to look so ugly. And here is our Super Factory Manager cable. So let's put a valve down first. And we'll call that, we can make a label in here. So we'll call it thermal evap water, or let's call it brine. Okay, so that'll be that guy. And we can insert things from there. And we need to feed it water also. So let's open up that guy, put an internal water block down there. And then we'll put this valve here. And then we can fill in the rest. So it has to be a 2x2 like this, otherwise it will not work. Then we put the controller down and we can use our building gadget to do the rest. Whoa. I don't think we'll need to make this any bigger, but if we do, we can just go into the ceiling, but I think this will be fine. So this guy is full of water. Now it just needs some heat. And once it has heat, it can start producing brine. And the way we're going to deal with the heat is with another of those resistive heaters, or another one of these valves. And then we'll put a resistive heater there. Just like that. And let's put a gate on it. This guy is producing brine very slowly. These resistive heaters, so right now it's doing 40 FE per tick, and it's producing brine very slowly, but we can increase this. So like, let's go up to like 1200 FE per tick. And so the temperature goes up by a lot, and the production for this goes up by a lot. And as the temperature continues to rise, the production will continue to rise. So this will speed up very quickly. And now we just need to do the same thing on this side. Like so. Here is this guy. So we put the valve there. I think that's all we need because we don't need water. And we should be able to input and output from that one side. Let's make another, where did our label gun go? Let's make another label. This one we will call thermal evap lithium. And put it on that guy, and we can push those labels into the manager. So now the manager knows that those exist. And we'll build this up the same way, put that guy there. Is this a stupid way of doing it? This is a stupid way of doing it, isn't it? All right, here's a less stupid way of doing it. We're going to put our thermal evaporation, or the valves, over here, which will get our resistive heater. Okay, and then we're going to use Super Factory Manager to give that power. And then over here, we'll put 2 more valves with Super Factory Manager cables. And this will be where we do our inputs and outputs. And then this guy will be the eternal water block. So that guy goes there, another valve there, another valve there, another valve here, those guys, and that. We will need to get in there and label those. So let's do that. So this will be the lithium. And then this one will be the brine. We push that guy to the manager. And these labels, the extra ones, this one and that one, will clear once we set up our program. So don't worry about that. And there's our controllers. All right. Those towers are set up over there. Let's deal with the program. So we want to give power to the resistive heater. And the resistive heater, I think, can only accept power from the green sides. So it's outputting power to both of these guys. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is we either need to insert on the east or the west side. So let's go, since this is east, we can also do that for the res heater. Yes. And then let's add in our labels for, so we're going to input fluid from thermal evap brine. Let's say bottom side. We will output that fluid to thermal evap lithium. Top side. Where's the resistive heater? All right, so this guy's producing brine, and it's going in here and it's being turned into lithium. So that is working. We're at 1200. That's being split in half. So I think we'll have to make it a little bit faster. So let's go 3000. Okay, so now we're getting liquid lithium. And I'll monitor the numbers once our temperature is up to kind of figure out how much we need. Also, when we set up our fusion reactor, we'll know exactly how much we need. So kind of we'll wait on that. And then what we do for tritium is we need normal lithium, so limit chemical lithium. So let's set that guy up. This guy, should we put with this machine? Or should we put it on this side? Let's put it on this side. And that needs to be decondensating. Let's reset the sides. All right, so then we are going to input the fluid from thermal evap lithium bottom side. And I hope this works. And we're going to output that fluid because it's from the same valve that we're also inserting into. So it might have issues with that one, but we'll see. I'm going to output that to condense top side. And we label that guy. Yeah, it is. It's over here. Lithium. I must have misspelled this one. Thermal. Dear Lord, save our ears from this monstrosity. All right, so now this guy's full of lithium. And then we take that and we put it inside of those things, the solar neutron activators. Is this a good spot? Because if we go, it'll be that corner. So let's put it... I don't like how I planned this room. This one doesn't look that bad to me anymore. It's like nice and symmetric. I can live with it. But this guy being here in Narnia, and then these guys just being plopped down here. So I might move this around when I decide how I want to set this room up. It's a little bit bigger than what we needed, but oh well. For now, let's just set them up over here so we can finish this episode, and then I'll deal with it later. Now, again, these guys need access to the sun, to the sky. So let's go ahead and give him that. And I don't know if the leaves need to go, but the log for sure needs to go. All right, and then another forget, last step, we go ahead and input the chemical from condense bottom side, and we output that chemical to solar neutron. The front is west side, right? Yeah. And we label those guys. It's not that. And it is nighttime, so let's go sleep. All right, and these guys are producing tritium, and this guy is producing deuterium, and we need to combine that together in a chemical infuser. And this guy can go... Maybe I just move this back one. So this one I'm going to set the inputs manually because there's two of them. So there's input 1 and input 2, and Superfactory Manager can't do both inputs. So the right side, which is south, will be input 2, and that's tritium. And then the north side, which is input 1, will be the deuterium. So we are going to input the chemical from the solar neutron activators from the bottom side, and we'll output that chemical to chemical infuser. And we set that one with south side, right? And then we're going to go ahead and input the other chemical from the electrode separator bottom side and output that chemical to C infuser north side. And then one last step, we are going to input that chemical from the chemical infuser bottom side and output that chemical to the interface. And before we forget, let's go ahead and partition that in a drive so we have room for it. This is our chemical drive. We'll put DT fuel in there. And I might make that a little bit bigger. It's only a 1 million. All right, so we need to pass new labels. We gotta change the condense. There's the condense and the chemical infuser. Okay, so we have tritium. Why are we not getting deuterium? Is this a fluid? I think it's a chemical, pretty sure. Yeah, this can only do. The left side is north side. We need to change this so it's the dark blue one, which is output 1. So anytime there's 2 outputs, the clicking the thing in Superfactory Manager isn't the most effective way of doing that. So now if we take a look in here, we are getting some DT fuel. Why has it stopped? Because it's nighttime. This is annoying. Oh my god, it's a thunderstorm? No. What is going on? Why have these guys stopped? They're full. There's no power. That would be my fault. Let's do comma C infuser. Okay. Here we are generating DT fuel. We're going to need at least 500 millibuckets per tick, because that's how much it takes to inject it directly into the fusion reactor. Aha! But we're getting 1.78 buckets a second. 2 per second. Don't think that's fast enough because we need it per tick. I'll mess around with the numbers in between episode. I think this is where I'm going to leave it for this episode. This was kind of a little bit of a mess, but we might have to end up placing more thermal evaporation chambers or making the brine one at least taller. Or maybe I'll just make more. I don't know yet. It might not be a bad idea to mirror this on the other side and have 2 more brine going to feed into the lithium one. And then we'll monitor it. And when we come back in the next episode, we will be making enough for 500 millibuckets per second. which is what we need at least to keep our fusion reactor going nonstop. But anyways, I always drag these outros on forever. I'm going to try not to do that today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.